Hello and welcome, this is Ruth, and today I've got a little mixture of punches and a few little dies, and they're all circles, and I've been sort of reading down through your comments and things, and I think this is the kind of thing you like. I hope I've gauged you right, but I know that lots of you will have punches. You may not have dies, but you can see here that I've actually just picked out some dies that are sort of sizes that you would get in punches. You don't actually need to have the specific sizes that I'm using here. But we're going to make some things, and well, it started off maybe one or two things in my head, and then loads and loads of ideas of things that I want to do. So first of all, if you like stretching your supplies like this, I actually do have a little page on my blog, and I'll link it down below in the description of the video. It's very, very old and I haven't added to it for quite a while, but I do see that lots and lots of people are still watching that. So you can go and have a little look at that if you're interested. And then do go back to some of my older videos because there's lots of different things in there. If you check out the playlist, you might find lots of different ways of using things and even different ways of just making plain card shapes look a little bit different. I've also got a crocodile here. I'm not sure whether I'll use that or not, but it basically just gives me the same sort of sizes that I get with this, except that I can sort of move it in and out and get it at the proper angle that I might want it at on a card. Anyway, there's loads of things I can do with this, from pretty straightforward to really, really putting it up a notch. I really get the feeling that looking at that list that I've got there, it's going to be not just a single video. So we'll see how this goes. First of all, grab your circles and let's have a go at this. I'm going to start off really, really simply, and I've just taken a top fold card. Again, this doesn't have to be a top fold. You could just have it in the landscape orientation here as well. And I have taken this little punch, and I'm going to punch 3 circles down from the side here. So you can see with this, the difference between having a punch and a die is if you put the die on here, you can put it wherever you like. If you've got a punch, you've just got to go with whatever depth your punch is from the edge of the paper. So all I've done here is I've got a little mark. I actually tend, did you see that? I actually usually tend to use them upside down because I'm using it on, usually use it on patterned paper, and I like to see exactly where it's going. But if you notice here, I've just marked the center of my card. Again, whatever size of card you want. And let's just punch a hole out. There we are. And then I'm going to make another one here. So if I just put the side of that punch just right there, that's going to leave me enough gap, and make sure that it's pushed right up to here, the way it was for the last one. There we are. My little circles will fall out there, and I'm not going to waste those, you would know that. And then again here, just up against the side, butt this in, and there we are. Now, we've already got a lovely little card that I can go ahead and decorate. I have picked some beautiful paper and it's got birds on it here, but you could go ahead and look through your stash and you might have something with butterflies. I think that would work really, really well. And in fact, you know what you have, just have a look through there because you might find something really, really beautiful. And I've layered on some paper here that is just slightly smaller than the gap that is between these apertures and the side of the card, and I'm putting that on there. And you can see that I have, they're actually from 2 different paper pads, but they kind of matched up. So I have got this page and then this. Have a look through, see what you have, and just use it. And I've picked out the red just to make it stand out a little bit. And then I have cut out two little shapes here, and I'm going to show you how I've done this. This is why I tend to have this upside down a lot. Just pop that in there, and then you can see exactly what you're going to cut and pop it out. And you've got a lovely little shape. Now you could have something totally different in yours. It doesn't have to be a parrot, but I have got one looking one way and one looking the other way, and a little toucan in the center. So all I'm going to do is add a little bit of glue on the back of this and then pop it straight through that aperture. Don't forget, this would look absolutely gorgeous with a butterfly peeping through there. Then we're going to put this in the center and the other one down at the bottom. It's a pretty straightforward card, but it just gives you a different way of, instead of just cutting this circle out to use, it means that you can use it in a different way as well. Now I've got a little sentiment, and I cut that out of the red card, and you might be able to find one in your stash that has the letters going down the way that would fit on there. If not, you might have made a wider card and put an ordinary one on. And I'm just going to pop that right down there. you can sort of center that up with the holes that are there, the little apertures. And then I thought it would be a nice little idea, just to take this small punch here, and you can maybe just use one of your hole punches if you have that handy. This one here is absolutely ancient and it's beginning to play up a little bit, so I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to punch out some little circles from the leftover card here. Again, you can see I don't waste much at all. So some of these, and I'm going to add those just around this part here. Now, you could make those whatever size you want. You might even just want to make them closer together or stagger the sizes of them, just whatever you like. But now I'm going to make a card and add some of these little circles onto it. So I'm just going to show you how to not waste those as well. Now I'm going to use up these little pieces, hopefully in a really nice way. I'm going to do a little bit of faux embossing, but I've also taken a few different punches. So that's a bigger circle one there, and then two smaller ones here, that one and this one. And I've cut out some circles, punched them out, and I'm going to put them on here. So this is going to be a white on white card. You make your card whatever size you like, and I've cut another white layer, and I'm going to put some of these on. Now, to keep this looking, well, more professional looking at the end, I think what I'm going to do is put some of them off, sort of hanging off the edge there, and then I'll come back when I've got them all glued on and trim the back edge of it, turn it over and run the scissors along here. So I'm just going to glue all these on and then attach this panel onto that card. While I'm doing that, you could just think about how nice this would look if these circles were in a different colour. So even if they were in red polka dots or whatever, it would be really, really nice. I just want to do them this time in self-coloured. The white on white sometimes is really, really nice, but I think multicoloured even would be lovely as well. So just think about that and see what tickles your fancy. I've taken my sentiment die, as you can see there, and the background die, and I've kept them both white, but I didn't want it to get totally lost. So the top one is white, and then I have die cut the sentiment out twice. So this one is in a sort of a seafoam green, if you know that card. It's mirror card, and it's just in behind there. So I do have the white over the top, and I'm going to put that on there, and then just chop off here and here. But I know I wanted to keep it white, but I actually really like that card on there now. So what I'm going to do is punch again these little pieces that probably, well, I would never waste them, so maybe you wouldn't either. I'm going to punch some little pieces there and then just scatter them across the card too. Here's another one then on the same theme, and instead of keeping it plain white like this and just plain card, I've used patterned paper this time and I've embossed it in an embossing folder. I have also then put a sentiment on, and the sentiment has a circular background. I did choose that specifically to go along with this, and I have some of these little holographic ones. It's quite bright there, isn't it? Yeah, but it sort of tones in with this. That gave me the idea for this one. And it's just that is one of the ideas that you can stretch and change and do lots of things with. These are sort of colliding with each other, where these are quite separate circles. And all different sizes and colours, patterns, or whatever. It would just look super on that. Great for a man's card too. On my next card then, I have taken a couple of pieces of paper here. So a lovely patterned piece and a panel of plain card, which I've left a little border around on 3 sides, and then it's a bit shorter here. And I'm not giving you the sizes because obviously this will be for whatever size of card you have and whatever size of punch that you have as well. And I want a little scalloped border down here that I can make with the punches. So I have got all sorts of sizes here. I could make a big one. Depends really on how far you push those in, how far this will sit out and how many you can fit in. But certainly you could do a big scallop border right down there, or you could do a medium-sized one. And I thought all of those are lovely ideas. I'm actually going to do quite a small one. So first of all, I'm going to glue this piece on, and then I'll put the scallop down the side, and then I'll go ahead and glue this on over the top. And it's just a quick and easy kind of way to get a lovely scalloped border if you don't have dies or even don't have border dies. But if you don't have any dies or die cutting machine, this is a great way to get a little scalloped border, and another way to use circles. I'm going to make a rosette to go on the centre of this card. So I've taken 2 strips of pink card here that match this, and they measure 19 centimetres long by 5 centimetres this way, and then I have scored them at every centimetre right along here on my scoreboard. And all I need to do now is fold them in a concertina style. I've already done that, but I just want to show you what I was doing there. And I'm going to join the 2 of them together. So if you just find where one of them bends over the way and bend the other one slightly under it, put glue. I'll show you what I mean here. So if I'm going to put glue along that little tab there, and then tuck it in under here, let the glue dry, and then do the other 2 ends here. So again, glue along there, and pop that on there. Now, really easy way to make a rosette. I think I should just turn my glue gun on and let you see how this works. I'm sure you've done it before, but if not, it's really, really easy. I had intended making a bigger card to put this on, but I'm just going to show you what it looks like anyway. You fold all the pieces in together when they're jointed like that, and then push them all into the centre like that, and there's your rosette. That one is just too big for my card. Look at that, it covers up. It actually fits the card okay, but it does cover up quite a lot of the border that I just went and made there. So I am going to just flatten this out and trim it down a little bit and then put it onto the card. But just to show you that I've made a mistake, I can fix it, and you can do that too. So I'm just going to trim a bit off this. Now I'm going to put this in the centre and add some glue into that, some hot glue. That works really, really well for this. And whoops, almost got it on my other bit of the card there. Now, just make sure all these creases are the right way around again, and then pop it right into the centre, the way I did the last time, but over this, so that all of those pieces then will connect with that circle. I've got this little one on the back, and I'm going to glue that straight onto the card. That's a much better fit this time. I just got a bit carried away, and I like a big rosette, but there you are. Now, I'm not putting glue out anywhere here because I want to add little tails onto that, so I'm going to pop that right into the centre of the card like that, And then I've got two pieces here that I'm just going to cut a little nick out of the bottom of and slip those up in, and just like that. So I've got little tails now, and I probably need to shorten those quite a bit. And I'll put glue on there and there and just pop that up in like so. And I always leave a little gap down at the bottom there as well, so that I can flick those little tails up too. And I just think that's a nice little look. So we've got it like that now, and I'm going to put a number on here. And that could be just whatever you like for the age or whatever you want to put on there. You could put congratulations, you could put first, you could put star, mum, dad, just whatever you're making this card for. There you are. That's what I like to do there. Just flick those up, and it gives a little bit of extra dimension to the card as well, like that. And then I'll put the number on there. There's the finished card then. And so I've used a circle on here and little circles down here and a circle in behind that. But as you can see there, I've put a die cut 30 on the front of that, but you could definitely stamp that, or you could get a sticker and put it on there. There's all sorts of different things available for that, but that's just another way. Now I just want to show you that it's possible to make a little pop-out mechanism using a punch, and you don't always need a die to do that. So this is actually just taken from an A4 sheet of card, and I've cut it down in half this way and then folded that in half this way. And I've taken a little piece of patterned paper and I'm going to glue that on there, leaving just a little border all around. Again, no specific measurements, because you can definitely adapt this to whatever size of card you want to make. But whenever you're gluing it on, just make sure that you've only got glue around the outside, and I'll show you why in a minute. Now I'm going to lay a little bit of tape down that, and that will just show me exactly where I need to put my punch. I've put a line of masking tape on here. This is actually dye tape, so it's like low tack masking tape. And I've put the outside edge of it here is 4 centimeters from this fold of the card. So that's just slightly over 1.5 inches. And I want to use this as the guideline for my punch. And I've got a 1.5 inch punch here, and you can always see the center of it there. It's marked on your punch, should be marked in yours too, usually inside as well, and it's easy enough to line up. So if you push this in here and just, I don't know whether you can see it there, but I can see it anyway, just exactly where that point is, and that's on that line, and then you're punching that circle out. And then we can fold the card over and do the same thing from the other side. Again, just make sure that that is right in the center of that line. So there we are. Now, the reason why I said that you don't need to put glue the whole way across was because my glue's actually hitting it here, but it means that you can change the paper on this when you cut that out. They can be two separate pieces. I'm actually going to leave that on and just put glue on the rest of it. But if you're wanting to change it and put different paper on for your pop-out part, that's why you don't have any glue going right over the rest of it. If you feel that you need more glue now, all you have to do is add it on there, or even put it on a little piece of card and push it through there. I'll show you what I mean. If you want to stick those pieces down, just put some glue on a tiny bit of card like that and pop it in between the layers, like that, and then you'll get glue in there and press them down just like that. Now, what I'm going to do after I glue these on is make a little pop out from this. So I'll be using these two discs back in there again. I'm going to glue the card down first, to the paper down to the card. So I've now got a piece of card which is the same depth here. This is lilac card to match the front panel, and it's the same depth as the card here, but it is 9 centimeters wide. And the reason that is because 4 centimeters brings me halfway across here. So if I measure from the fold to halfway across the circle, just in case you're using a different size of card or have your circles in different places, you're going from that fold to halfway down there. Then you want to multiply that by 2, because you've got to have one piece here and one piece here the same, which is this, and then you'll add another centimetre on just for gluing it. So that has a mounting fold here and here, and I'm just going to lay it down carefully there and put glue along this tab and then glue that down. So carefully onto the fold, check it top and bottom, and press that down. Now we need to attach these pieces, so I have taken little strips of card, I have them here, and I'm going to glue those on here. So they're really going to come out from the centre, see here, from the fold again, right out to here, and then we're going to fold them back at the centre of that. This one here is just a little bit broader because it's going to fit in between these two, and then I've got one for the bottom. So they're coming right out to the edge of the circle, but they're going to get folded back just where they meet here. So the easy way to do that is just to lay them down. I can glue the top part of them just here, like that. Now you need to make sure that these are going to be narrow enough to fit in here and not be visible from the front of the card. That's the only stipulation to the depth of them. And we'll glue them down to right out to about halfway across that circle, so really across there. Now we can fold this over and just make a little mark right there, right at the edge, and there, and then fold these back. You can even just fold them over like that, and that probably gives you a better idea of where it's to go. And then you're going to put glue on the top of the tab there and fold this over on top of it. And now we're going back to the two circles that we took out, and I'm going to glue them just by this tab here. So you're only going to put glue on there, not on the full circle. And I don't know where I've put my other one, but it's here somewhere. Now to add the decoration to this one. So assuming that we don't have a die cutting machine, and that's why we're using stamps and circle punches and things, I've stamped this little sentiment out. And again, you just use whatever you've got. I'm just taking off the backing here. I thought I'd already done that. And I'm going to put this in, and as you can see again, I have just put this in the centre because I do like to place this on and then just a little bit of extra security there, and then maybe tuck some things in behind that. So I'll just get that in the centre. So we're going for thinking of you. And then I have fussy cut some little butterflies, and those are from a paper pad that had lots of little butterflies and things on it, and I'm going to put them on there. So you can see I've folded each wing up and left a little flat bit in the centre, and I'm going to put one on here. Now this is a great way of using up little pieces of paper and fussy cutting bits and pieces, because again, if you don't have a die cutting machine and you're not going to cut out some of those things, also if you've got some paper that you don't really like the whole sheet, but you've got little bits like this, let me just zoom you in a little bit, that's better. This is a really cool way to use that up, and just to get the maximum out of everything. You know by now that that's what I like to do. I like to make sure I get good value for money. I mean, I've got the things, I just want you to get good value for your money as well and be able to use them up. So there we are, one going one way, one going the other, and I have also fussy cut a big one here, and that is going to go on the inside going that way. So I'm going to put the glue down the centre here, and I know I'm just going on a bit here because this isn't really about anything else, only circles, but I just wanted to finish the card and show you how I was going to do that. So when you open the card, that's going to overlap there a little bit. So press the body down like so. Now, as I said, there you are. That's what that looks like when it's opened. Isn't that actually really beautiful? Now, did you know you could do that with punches? I think most people are just used to using die cuts for that, and maybe I should just move that over slightly. Right, now, on to here. I've got some little flowers here, and they're going to match in, and this is why I've left this little area in around. I'm going to fussy cut these off and just add them in there to finish my little card. My next card's going to be a gatefold, and I'm actually using the circle punches this time to create a kind of a closure on it. So you can see here, it's this part, and that moves up and down, and in fact just comes right off. So if you've got a gatefold card and it's pre-made, I would just cut a sliver, now just a tiny sliver. Hopefully you can see just how much of a gap I've left there. And I think it's better that you do that and leave a little bit of a gap, because once you put this piece in, if you can see in there, you've got to accommodate the layers of this folded circle here. And I don't know if you can actually see it or not, but you'll see it as I explain it and as I make it when we go along. Anyway, this has got to slide freely up and down here. So if you just take a tiny sliver off each side and even that up. And as it's not all about the gatefold, it's just about the closure, I'm going to go ahead and decorate this. And then I'll punch out my circles and come back and show you exactly how to make that. But it's a fun little way to make a closure on a gatefold. Normally I would use a belly band or something like that. But this time, I think that I'm going to show you how to do this because it's lovely. I've punched out 3 circles now, and this one is a 2-inch circle and the other 3 are 1.5-inch circles. I'm going to keep that for the front, and then these 2, I actually just a little bit cut off that. That was accidental, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to be tucked inside anyway. I just thought I'd leave it there and show you that that happened, and if it happens to you, don't worry. So now I've got 2 pieces like this, and these are going to be back to back like that. So see how we've got the 2 folded edges together, and I want to put glue on this part on the back of them. It doesn't really matter whether it's the back or the front at this stage, but there's where I'm going to put it, and right there, and then put another circle right over the top of those 2. So there we are. Very, very easy to line up because you're just putting the 2 semicircles right on top of the other circle, and you'll see there that these fold up. Now, just let that dry for a second or 2 and make sure it's nice and straight and nice and firm, and you can come down the centre of it with a bone folder or something just to burnish it a little bit more. And then you can go ahead and glue that directly on top of this one. This is going to be the front, so I'm just going to put this on here. The folded edge again, so the 2 folded edges are going to be covered up. One is the back part and one's going onto the front, and that will just go in there like that, centre it up, and then I'm going to punch out a circle of this pink paper just to go on top. This is a 2-inch circle then, and I've punched it out of the pink card, and I've put it directly on top of the white one. And now I'm going to take my 1.5-inch circle punch and punch out the same pattern that's on here, and just see the way when your punch is upside down, you can see exactly where you're going. So there we are. And then I'm going to glue that on there. And I just need to be mindful of where the little fold is in the back so that I get this the right way up. So if you just have a little look, and you can see there, the fold is in there, and I'll position that like that. And there it is. So now this part can go on here, this part goes in here, and there's your little slider mechanism to keep the card closed. I'm just going to leave it for a moment or 2 till the glue dries properly. Do you know, I didn't get glue right out to the edge there, and look at that. There we are. Sorted. Now you can extend this a little bit and add extra detail onto it. So I thought it'd be nice to add 2 more circles on, one to each side, and I'm just going to slip them in here, and just like that. And then the other one here, and I've also punched out 2 little hearts that I'm going to put onto the side of that. And then I'll show you what I normally do whenever I'm making a gatefold card. I like to cover the inside of it. I don't always do it, but sometimes. So there we are. That just extends that a little bit, and it's rather nice. And then I've punched out 2 little hearts from the same blue paper, and I'm just popping that on there. One there, and one here. You could put your sentiment on there as well if you like. And yeah, just like so. So that actually gives you a little bit more on the width of it there. But I just want to show you what I normally do whenever I'm doing a gatefold card. I don't like that just to be open like that. I've cut a piece of paper from the same paper pad, and it's just slightly smaller in the width, but there's an extra little hinge at the top here, and it's just covering all of that. I'm going to put some glue across the top of this and add it on there. Just press it in here, right in between those 2 fold lines. Center everything up. There's an extra little heart. And there you are. Now whenever you open the card up like this, you'll open this up and your writing will be in here, and it just doesn't look as bare. And this goes back on here again. Sometimes this happens, and I thought I'd finished that, but I thought a lovely little stripe down each side would look nice. And obviously you can't really put anything at the top or bottom because that would get in the road of this. So I've put a few little gems on there, and that's that one finished. But while I was on the gatefold theme, I thought I'd come back to another one, and I've gone ahead with this one a little bit. And as you can see, I've got the inside flap ready, and I've got the front decorated on one side, and I've got some lovely paper here and some backing on it. So that just sets it off a little bit. I think actually that's what that one was missing. Normally I layer cards up a little bit more than that. So I've done it with this one, but this time for the circle punches, I'm actually going to make the belly band, the entire belly band out of circle punches. I've already gone ahead and I've got some of them ready, and I'm just going to show you how to center those and get them right on the card. And there we are. That lime green is lovely and fresh looking, especially with the white around it there. So I've punched a big circle. Now again, you just use whatever sizes you have, but I think I would suggest making a bigger one for the centre and then doing a slightly smaller size for right around the outside of it. So white again, because this sort of mirrors here, where I've got the white on the card and then the lime green and then this beautiful floral pattern. And I'm just going to put that on there, just and centre that. And that will be the big part, the centre part of the belly band. And then I've got some punched out pieces here, but I've also taken some pattern on them, punched a smaller circle again, and you can see there I'm going to add all of those. Now, so that I know exactly how many I need, I'm going to take 2 of these and fold them over in the centre. Now, after I fold them, then I'll add on the other piece here, because sometimes it just doesn't just go the right way. And let's see, let's just do that. If you were to glue that and then fold it together, sometimes you would just be stretching that just too much. So it's better to fold one and then fold the other and add them together. Now that's going to become the side parts. And I can go ahead and I'll just burnish that down. That then will go on here. So that's one side. And this then will be the other side. And then I can work out how many more I need to go across that. I'm just weighting the card down with the big punch there, and then set this in the centre and pop this one in behind like so, and then another one in here, and it's going to take 2.5. So I'm just going to overlap those like that and glue in behind here and then here and here, and do the same here, and then work across the back of it. I've got some bits and pieces ready to make a little Hinge card now, and it's going to have a little secret message, and I've gone ahead and done some prep. So I've got a top fold card here. Doesn't really matter whether it's top fold or whatever, but that's just what I wanted. And I've got some lovely striped paper on here, and then this will be the panel that sits on top, and I'm going to have a few little extras thrown in here as well. So I'll show you how to do some decoupage from fussy cutting, some patterned paper if you've got some that has something like this that looks like it's maybe in 2 or 3 layers. And then this is a little message in behind. That's going to go in there. It's going to go on here, and this will open to reveal that. Now, I suggest that you stamp on that rather than put a die cut on, because when this piece comes back and forward, it might get caught on the die cut. So it's much better just to keep that flat. You could actually just stick another piece of patterned paper on if you like, if you wanted to show something like that. Before I go ahead and do that, I'm going to do a little bit of decoupage from my patterned paper here. So I've had a little look at this, and to me this looks like it's in 3 different layers. So there's the bird, and then these flowers would be in behind, and the little tail would be in behind. So I have cut out, again, just from another part of that paper, the little bird minus the tail this time. I just took that off, and I've kept the little flower on there, and I've got some 3D foam pads on there, and then I'm just going to line that up very carefully on top. See, just like that, and then you can see how that tail's in the background. And then on here I've recut the little flower, and I'm going to put that right on top of there, and that just gives a lovely bit of dimension, and you didn't have to buy any decoupage for it. It's all right there. I'll have another little well, I'll just show you it now actually. This is going to be my covering from the top. So I fussy cut this, but I needed it to be a lot more sturdy than just the paper that it came on. So I glued the patterned paper just straight onto a piece of card, and then fussy cut through that. So I've now got a nice firm piece as well. Anyhow, I have a little set of punches here, and they're from We Are Memory Keepers. And these make this little hinge, but I just want to show you how you can do this on your own if you don't have these. And the little hinge is going to go on here, as I said before, and pivot this back and forwards, and then this panel will get glued onto the front of the card just like that. So first of all, we're going to I've actually marked a little dot on here, and that's where I want the hole to go through here. So if you turn your punch upside down and slide this little piece forward, you'll be able to center that. I've got it exactly where I want to be on the front of the card there, and I can just go in there and punch, and that's exactly where I wanted that. Now I've got to take a slightly bigger punch, and I'm going to punch out a piece of card in just white again. This little punch has seen better days. It's been put through its paces quite a lot. I'm going to use that punch along with this one. You can actually make this a lot bigger and use different sizes of punches just by doing the same thing. But what I'm going to do now is just go into the center here. Now I could actually take a little piece. To me this is a little bit, you don't have to actually do this, but you can just put this on and mark. Let me see. I'll set it on just to show you. That's just paper this time, the little piece in the center, so there's no thickness to it at all. And cut into that in 2 places, just there, and then there, and there. And those pieces then fold up, just like that. Now they can go in behind this, and because that little piece in the center is the same size as this hole, that comes up through there. I've made that actually just a little bit too thick, so I'm going to take a little sliver off it. You don't want those pieces too thick or they'll not come up through that hole. So it's really just because the width on the outside edge of it there. So just snip a little bit off and put them through again. I could have edited that out, but I just wanted you to see that you can remedy that if you do happen to do that yourself. So flip those 2 bits in and put them in through there. Now when you bend those two pieces back, that's the only parts that you're going to put glue on. See there? Just there and there. And you can glue that directly onto this. What I'm going to do first is put it onto a little circle. So I'm going to punch another one of these. And then just glue the tabs there and there. And put this on over the top. Now I can glue this part. So that's just here and here onto this. And just line that up perfectly in behind. Now when that glue's dried, you can see that this moves back and forwards like that, but we want to cover up this bit, and that's why I've cut this. So again, glue on here. You could put anything on there. You could put a button, or you could put just a circle punch or something, but I thought this was really nice because it tied in with what I've got on the pattern there as well. So that goes there. And then all's left now is to glue this panel, the back panel, onto the card. You can use a variety of your hole punches to make little frames and little circles like this, and then those could in turn be used as backgrounds and all sorts of things in much the same way as I've done with this one. But that also can be adapted to be used in different sizes. So I'm just going to show you how you would do that first of all. You would take the smaller punch that you're going to use and cut out the circle. Don't throw that away. Hold on to that because you'll probably use that for something else. And then go in with the bigger one. And you can see then if you turn your punch upside down, you'll be able to center that directly over the smaller one. And then that comes out perfectly each time. Now that can also be adapted and used to make a hole punch. This time we're going to use the small one first. Again here. Is that a straight edge? Yep. Cut out that. And then go in with the next size. And because these are the same make, you can actually just pop them right in and butt them up to the end of the card there. And you'll get the exact hole punch that you want. And there you are. And that then will be a little reinforcer that you can put around a hole punch in, say, a little booklet or a file page or something like that as well. So there's loads and loads of different ways that you can use that. I have cut out some pages here, and I'm not, again, measurements don't matter because you can make this whatever size you like. And if you don't have a crocodile, you'll just score a little fold down here and mark the center of it. And then that's where you will punch your little hole. But I've got a crocodile here, so I've set this to, there's the only drawback with a crocodile. I find the little piece doesn't come out whenever you've finished with it. But I've set the little gauge here, and I've marked 3 centimeters up from each edge. And again, you just do that whatever size you want. You can see it through the top there. Just punch, and there you are, and you've got this. That then in turn can have the little reinforcer put onto it. And that would be like that. Now I'm going to make a little booklet just to show you here, but I'm not going to decorate it this time because, well, this video is going to go on and on forever. But I have actually cut out some of these already, and then I'll put a little frame on, and then I'll add the cover on the top of it. I was just going to leave it at that and show you how to make the little circle frames and the hole punch reinforced pieces. I think that's what they're called. But I've made this into a little notebook, as you can see, with the little twine on it here, and I've just handwritten notes, and I have a little punch here that is really, really handy. I've had that for years, and I've cut out little leaves with that as well. But I thought then I would go ahead just and show you another card made with the actual bigger frames here. So so this is a bit of a hybrid. It's a bit of this card and it's a bit of this card. There's some plain ones in, and it's actually a bit of this as well, because I've punched some little images off some patterned paper, and I just thought I would bring it all together in this one, and then I've stamped the image and just cut that out as well. So that's just another little idea, and don't forget to combine lots of them together. Don't stick to just one type of circle on your card. Well, this is my last idea for this video, and it's actually one of my favourites. This actual video is only about things that you can do with the circles themselves. I have loads more ideas, and they will definitely be coming in further videos, whether you like it or not, because I'm enjoying myself so much. The next videos will be things that you can make with circles, you know, like the little bears and things that I made before, but I've got pages and pages of ideas of things that I can make with that, so please do come back and check those out. Anyhow, this one is not actually being used to put directly onto the card, but more as a little template. So have a look there, and you can see I'm not going to punch it out and stick it all down again, but you can see lots of circles, bigger ones in at the back, and then smaller ones, and then smaller right out at the edges here. And it's really just to give me this shape. Yours doesn't have to be exactly like that, but I've got some ink here, and I'm going to use this as a little template and move it around a bit and give myself a little sort of cloud background that I can build up on after this. See, it's leaving little areas like this. You can actually even turn it around and use the underside of it as well. You don't have to use the top, use the bottom, just whatever. But do stick with me and see if you enjoy this as well. I love it. I'm just going to add glue onto the back of this and then mount it onto the card and add a little hot air balloon, which I've made, oh you know it, from a circle punch. There it is, and some twine. Now you can let me know if you can work out how to make that, or if you'd like me to tell you in the next video, because that's one of the little ideas that I have for my next video, and that's going up there. I'll put a sentiment along the bottom, and I'm going to put that away in my little box so that I can use that again. I'll probably get quite a bit of use out of that. And there you are. A few little birdies in the background. The easiest little birdies you'll ever do. And there. And my little sentiment goes along there. Technically, I am calling this 10 ideas, but there's lots and lots of bonus ideas in among it. Hold on to the end. I'm going to have a very, very quick run through, but there will be loads of photos at the end where you can recap on all the different ways that I'm using in this video to show you how to use circle punches. I've stamped an image and then just cut a little tail on the end of it, and I've got it on 3D foam pads, and that's just going to go right across there. And that's the card finished. And that's actually me finished for the video, because as I said, I could go on and on and on, and there will be more. Please let me know in the comments down below if you've enjoyed this. If you have found any of these unusual, I'm hoping that most of them are actually unusual ways. I don't know that I've seen that used before anywhere, and quite a lot of these are, quite unusual ways. So that's probably what I will use, what I'll call the video at the end, 10 unusual ways to use circle punches. Let's have a quick look through. Now, I'm not sure I'll get these in the right order from beginning to end, but there's the first one. Punch just into the side there, straight in, and 3 little apertures. Then I think this was the next set here. So just plain little circles on, and onto a plain white card, and then I'll chop them off and use the little bits. Then I've done exactly the same thing with some patterned paper and some and an embossing folder, and then added some little pieces in there too. That's that one. This one here, then I made the little border with the circles, and I also used the circle for the back to hold this rosette together. So that's a double, what I would call a double dunter. That's that one. And then I think this was the next one, where I've done the little slider piece that comes off and on, right off the card and back on again to hold that gatefold in place, and also the little pieces on the top of it there. This one is one that definitely I've never seen this done before with a punch. I've certainly seen similar things with on a bigger scale. I've done it myself. I've even got videos and probably blog posts on it with dies, but never with a punch. So there you are. I really hope that lets you get more use out of all your dies and things. Then the next one was probably this one. Maybe not. Anyway, the belly band made out of circle punches. Really, really nice. This one then was a sort of hybrid of some of the others, which the little frames, and this one, they're all in the wrong order now, aren't they? Don't worry, they're all circles. The little holes were punched here, and then I made these little reinforcers, and then just on a bigger scale, I've made these. And that's actually really, really nice on glitter card. You don't have to have many supplies for that card at all. This one then was a little hinge, and although I've used circles for that, circle punches for that, you don't even see them, but they're there. Believe me, you saw them, you saw me make them, and they're in below that. And then this one, my lovely little template. I love it. I hope you do too. Please let me know what you think of that as well. Now, I've come to the end of the video. If you haven't already subscribed, I would love you to do that and hit the notification bell, because there will be loads more coming, and I think you'll want to be notified of that. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and leave me a little comment. I would love to know what ways that I've used circle punches here that you haven't used before. Hopefully there's lots of them, because I tried to be unusual in it. But you can let me know what you think, and you can give me some other ideas as well. I've got a great big file here, and I have a couple of more pages of things that I'm going to use circles for. So I would love to go ahead and do that. I will do it. It'll probably take a few days to do each one, because there's lots of prep in this. And believe it or not, you want to see my desk. I've only got this little gap here, and I need to tidy it all up before I make anything else. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. In the meantime, happy crafting. Bye bye.